In this section we will generate AI videos. And of course we will do most of it in Conf.ui. First I want to show you how you can use these video models inside of Conf.ui but with an API. Because these video models are most of the time really beefy and they need a lot of time to render. So if you want to use them over an API, feel free to do this. So we use the Sora API from OpenAI. You can also use the Veo API, Kling API or a similar API. And this is extremely easy to use inside of Conf.ui. You just have to type in your prompt, you don't have to download any models and nothing. But the prompting can be really important, and that's why we need to talk about prompt engineering in detail. But of course, this is a local AI masterclass, and that's why I want to show you how you can even run local AI video generations on your machine. We will take a closer look at the models from Alibaba. I want to show you the one models. You can make videos out from text, but you can also make videos out from images. And you can even make character swaps. And we will do all of it in Conf.ui locally. And lastly, I want to show you a cool tool if you don't like to use Conf.ui. I want to show you FramePack. You can install FramePack locally on your machine and you don't have to use Conf.ui, you get a nice radio interface. The video from FramePack was originally actually a video that I have created in German and I have translated this into English. So I hope you like it, and if not, you can also skip it. You will always find the newest video models, of course, inside of Conf.ui, and it's possible that FramePack is not always up to date. But nonetheless, I think you should give it a try. I'll see you, of course, in the next video where we talk about prompting and API video models. In this video I want to show the fastest and easiest way how you can generate videos inside of Conf.ui without downloading models, without downloading specific workflows, and without using your own hardware. Because the generation time can be of course quite high if you run this locally. If we press plus, then we come right here of course and we go on browse templates, you can come on the Veo API. Now obviously here you can run the state-of-the-art models. You can run Sora 2 and here you have a text and image to video workflow. You can use 2.5 text to video and also image to video. You can use the Kling models, and these models, they are really easy to use. But the downfall is of course that you have to pay a tiny bit. If you press for example on Sora 2, here you get a workflow and you see that one run with 8 seconds costs you roughly 80 cents. If you come back once again, or in a new workflow, let's just see once again browse templates, and once again the Veo API, you can use 2.5 text to video, and this should be also like roughly 75 cents per run. So you can of course play with these workflows, and I would recommend you to play with this if you don't want to use your local machine. I just want to make an example with Sora. We simply make videos with like 4 seconds so that it is a little bit cheaper, so only 40 seconds. I do think you can totally work with these. In order to generate videos with Sora, you don't have to do nothing. So you only have to simply type in your prompt, the things that you want to see right here. And I also want to show you how you should write prompts for video models. This is right now important. This is also important if you want to generate videos with local models. We obviously talk about local models in a minute. The first thing that I want to show you is, of course, how you can generate these videos from text. In order to generate this from text, you don't want to have a load image. So you press right here and we do here a bypass. We also don't need to have like specific preview images, so we can also bypass them. But first let's just test this out, and now we need to see how we should write the prompts for these video models. OpenAI actually gives us a whole prompting guide for these video models. Before we prompt, we always need to think of prompting like briefing a cinematographer who has never seen your storyboard before. You can read all of this of course for yourself, but what I want to show you is what you can use here. You can use obviously different models, so Sora 2 or Sora 2 Pro. The same thing is true in Confi. You can come here of course on the model Sora 2 or Sora 2 Pro. You can use different resolutions, so these are the resolutions that you can use. Same thing is true here in Confi. You can use the different resolutions here. The length of your videos is either 4, 8 or 12 seconds, and the default value is 4. I do think the default in Confi is 8, so take a look at this. Then they tell you a little bit about the video resolution and length in more detail, and what's important right now is the prompt anatomy that works. A clear prompt describes a shot as if you were sketching it onto a storyboard. State the camera framing, note depth of field, describe the action in beats, and set the lighting and palette. Anchoring your subject with a few distinctive details keeps it recognizable, while a single plausible action makes the shot easier to follow. You can also describe multiple shots and so on, and here they give you a nice example. In a 90s documentary style interview, an old Swedish man sits in a study and says, "I still remember when I was young." So this is a prompt that seems to work nice for Sora. And here why this prompt works well. The 90s documentary sets the style of the video. An old Swedish man sits in a study, describes the subject and setting in minor details, but it's still some creativity for the model left. And then the things that the man should say. Describes of course the dialogue. If you want to go ultra detailed, of course you can still do this. And here is a complete example for this. Also, you can obviously include a lot of different things. For example, format and look, lenses and filtrations, grade and palette, lighting and atmosphere, location and framing. A lot of extras. You can describe the sound. You can try to do 2 shots or 4-second totals. So you can eventually describe everything, what's included when. Then you can include camera notes and a finishing. Here they give you a lot of weak prompts and how you can make your prompts better. A beautiful street at night is not that great. You should better say wet asphalt, zebra crosswalk, neon signs reflecting in puddles. The camera shot cinematic look is not that great if you want to have it strong. Wide shot low angle with a depth of field of shadow, for example, so sharp on the object and blurry background. And the lighting and palette is warm, backlight with soft rim. And they obviously give you here a lot of options, and you should take a look for yourself at this prompting guide. And here you can basically see what you can generate. You can either make this picture moving, of course, or you can also make something creative out of this picture, as you can see right here. They also give you some tips on the dialogue and audio if you want to go into specific what these people are saying, because obviously also sound is included, and you will see also a lot of examples on this webpage. So simply take a look. I am sure you will find the right prompting style for you. Here you find the whole gigantic examples that you can eventually use. What I want to use is this first example, just that you get a glimpse how Sora could look like if you use it over the API, because it works really fast, like I told you. If we simply copy this prompt, and if we come into Confi, we can simply include this prompt right here, and then we need to press run, and I want to see if I have also to bypass these 2 nodes, or if this is working if we just bypass the upload image node. So we press run, also bypass this thing right here. So right now I pressed run once again, and I actually bypassed all of these things down here, so that we don't have to basically upload a picture to start. We just want to start from this text prompt here. And also keep in mind the things that I have told you while image generating. You can obviously use the same prompting style as with the image generation, but also make sure to include movements or what these people should say basically. Not every single video model can also generate sound, but Sora can generate sound, and that's why you should also include the sound if you want to generate this sound. And here they also tell you how long you need to wait. For us it's roughly 45 seconds here. And there we have it, the video is generated. Let's just take a look how this video looks like. We make it a bit bigger because the resolution is really great here.
I still remember when I was young. I still remember when I was young.
I do think that the style and quality is really stunning, so this obviously works really great. What we want to do right now is to make a video out from an image. In order to do that, we skip this bypass, so we remove all of these bypasses. Now we need to upload a picture. I simply use this picture right here. The next thing is of course that we need to use the same resolution. So we need to use this resolution right here. Also here I want to use the same resolution. Also down here. And now we need to describe what this woman should do. And if you give a picture, you don't have to be that specific in the prompt. So we do something like this. The woman says directly in the camera, "I like music," while walking. Let's just give this a try and we see if this is working or not. Walking is of course not optimal because we don't have a full body view, so let's just see what Sora will do with this image. Of course here we get first our preview image, also down here we get the resized preview image, so of course we need to crop it if something is off, but because we give the same resolution everywhere, I do think that this should work Right now we are generating, so let's just see. And right now we do have a failure. It seems that OpenAI doesn't like my picture. I want to try this with another picture. I had to use another image that was less realistic. It seems that Sora or OpenAI doesn't like my API request, because it seems that they don't want to generate this woman. So right now we do have a woman. This woman right now is a bit in more anime style, so let's just take a look if this is working or not. We press play.
I like music.
It also seems to work relatively great. You see that the style is completely perfect and she says exactly the words that we are telling. She's obviously not walking right now because, yeah, this is a stupid shot. Maybe we should also have some legs if she should really walk. But in general, I do think that this was also relatively great to see. And here you also see the downsides if you use APIs. Obviously, they are the easiest to use. They are the fastest to use. You don't need any hardware, but of course, you need to pay a little bit to use them and you are restricted. Sometimes they don't let you generate realistic pictures, they are a bit censored, yeah, and you are dependent on the stuff that OpenAI lets you generate. And that's why I want to show in the next video, obviously, how you can run such models locally, but then you need to wait for a long time because your hardware needs to be relatively strong in order to run these models locally. See you in the next one. If we talk about local video generation, I do think that we have to talk about the WAN models. The WAN models come from Qwen, so this comes directly from Alibaba. And you see they have, right now at least, a model that is also closed sourced. It's called WAN 2.5. And here you can also generate voices and sound, just like you saw in the last video with Sora. You can also do this in ComfyUI if you include it over the API. But what we are interested in right now are, of course, the open source models. WAN also releases really strong open source models. We do have at the moment the WAN 2.2 series and also the 2.1 series is really good. We have 2.2 Animate for character animation and replacement. Then we have the 2.2 S2V, where every voice finds its vision. Then we have the standard WAN 2.2, and then we get the WAN 2.1 models. And also the 2.1 models are relatively great. I want to show you how this looks in ComfyUI. This right now is, for example, the WAN 2.1 model. It's a full FP16 model, but it has only 1.3 billion parameters. That's why I can run it on this machine and the generations are somehow nice, somehow okay. If we come here on Q, you see that my generation took basically 230 seconds. This was also to load the model. If I do a generation once again, most of the time I got under 200 seconds. So I do think this is fine. So the first step is, of course, to load the models. Here we use a standard load diffusion model. Then we have a standard load clip model and we have the VAE down here. Then we have the video size. I used for this video 832 by 480 pixels to generate a bit faster. Then we do have our positive prompt. So the model comes of course right here in the model, and then we have the clip that goes in the positive and into the negative prompt. In the positive prompt we simply describe what we want to see, just like in Sora. And here we also have a negative prompt. And you see that the negative prompt is here basically in Mandarin. I would recommend you to leave this in Mandarin. I would guess that there are words that are called like blurry, out of frame and so on. I think we should simply leave this as they are, because I think they use Chinese or Mandarin in order to train this diffusion model, so we leave the negative prompt just how the negative prompt is. Obviously you can also use an LLM to see what's standing in this prompt, but I leave this for you. So you can simply throw this into ChatGPT, make similar stuff and also translate it into Mandarin for your negative prompts. Then everything goes of course into the model sampling SD3. Here we use a value of 8 and then the K-sampler, and the K-sampler is, as always, with a seed. We use a random seed, then we use 30 steps to generate, then we have the CFG, normally at 6, and the rest is also just like you know that the noise always at 1. And lastly we have the VAED code, the generate video, and lastly a save video node in order to save our video. And this right now is the video that I got on my local machine. And like I told you, the generations are somehow fast. But of course you do have a lot of other workflows that you can use in order to play with. If you basically come here, let's just say on a new chat, and then you come once again on browse templates, you will find a lot of templates. If we come on video, you will find 1.2.2, and this is the 14B version. This is obviously way too beefy for me. If you press on these, you see that you need to download models that are relatively beefy. You see here 13 gigabytes. I have tried this a few times. Yeah, they work, but the generations take too long, at least for me. If you have 12 gigabytes of VRAM, you can absolutely work with this workflow. And this is also relatively easy and intuitive to use. You simply type in your prompt right here. The negative prompt is obviously just like it should be, and here you get all the recommendations. If you have, for example, an NVIDIA 4090 with 24 GB of size, you can see how fast the generations are. You can use obviously the FP8 models, or you can use an FP8 model with a 4-step LoRa. You already understand these LoRas. Everything that you have to do is to simply include the LoRas, and then you are ready to rock. So you can generate with only 4 steps. But of course you can also use this without the LoRa. The first workflow is with the LoRa, as you can see right here. Here you have the 4-step LoRa included, and you can simply run your generation. Just to save some time, I will not go over this workflow here, because like I told you, yeah, it takes a long time for me. Then you have the 1.2.2 14B image to video model. You can also play with these if your machine is beefy enough. And here you have basically the same thing as you already saw in Sora. Everything that you have to do is to simply upload your image here, and then you can generate videos out of images, of course. And if we come back once again on browse templates on these video models, you find basically a lot of different models. You also have the possibility to do first last frame to video, so that you have a lot of control. You have the possibility to do 1.2.2 animate. This is for character animation and replacement. This is a really great model. I have also made, for example, a few generations for my German YouTube channel. What you can basically do with 1.2.2 animate is something like this. The guy in the upper left corner has animated itself into different persons or creatures, but obviously the rendering time is relatively long here. Let's just take a look.
Hi.
Whoa! Yeah! Huh? Hi!
아, 헤헤. 응, 응, 응? 와우.
So you see, you can do a lot of funny stuff. On this webpage you find a lot of interesting things. You can also replace yourself with other persons, even from complete movies, or also with characters that you maybe know, because none of this is censored. You can even generate like some dancing videos. And you see, this works really great. I do think that the quality is outstanding here, but I have to tell you, yes, the generation takes a long time, and no, music gets not generated with this model. There's only your music that gets included. And if you tell words, for example, these words will simply get deep-faked on other persons. So you can obviously try to play with this model, but like I told you, this model is a bit too beefy for me. I had to use some smaller models. Yeah, it worked somehow okay, but if you want to have the quality that you see, for example, here, you have to use these bigger models. Here is the model in comparison with all the other competitors, for example with Runway Act 2 or with the ByteDance models, and on the right side is the model 1.2.2 Animate, and it's relatively obviously that the 1.2.2 Animate is right here by far the best model. So if your machine is beefy enough, you can absolutely play with this model. And here you find a lot of different models, and I would strongly recommend you to take a look at this model. As soon as you find these models down here, the 1.2.2 5B video generation. This is a model that nearly everybody should be able to run. If you press on them, you see that this model has only 9.31 GB in size, and it's also obviously really easy to use. You can simply write in your prompt, and then boom, you are ready to generate. And here you have once again a full FP16 model, but because this is only 5 billion parameters, it's relatively small and it can generate relatively fast. So always take a look at the size of these models. Maybe you can run them and maybe not. Like I told you, some of these models will take a lot of space on your disk. Besides this, you have also the 2.1 image to video. And if you press on these, also here you see that you have a gigantic model, 30 GB in size. But here you can also find a model that is quantized. I want to show you how you can find these quantized models. The workflow on itself is really easy to use. You can simply upload a starting frame, so a starting image, and then you can generate. And I simply want to show you how all of this is working. So the model that we want to use is 2.1 image to video, but we want to have this as GGUF. Simply come on Google 2.1 EMG to video, and you want to have the GGUF models. So simply Google them, then you will find a link on Hugging Face. You can simply press on this Hugging Face link, and here you basically find all the models in 16-bit, in 8-bit, in 6-bit, in 5, in 4, and in 3-bit. And here you should use a model that you are able to use. I think I have played a lot of times with these 4-bit models, so the Q4 quantization. These models are roughly 10 GB in size, and I can run these models. In order to use these models, simply download them and put them in your diffusion models folder. And then you have obviously not to use a load diffusion model, because you see that here is only the text to video model. Here you need to use a GGUF loader. So of course you come to notes, you search for the GGUF loader. So GGUF, we use the unit loader, and right now you can simply use this model. And down here is it. I have the 2.1 image to video in 40 billion parameters SQ3 here included. So what we can do is to simply throw this aside, or bypass it, or whatever. So bypass, then we throw this into the model, and the rest we can simply leave it how it is. The next thing that we need to do is to upload here, of course, a picture, and then we will animate it. And I will try this right now, of course, with a relatively realistic photo, so that you can see that we can absolutely animate these photos. In order to do this, I come to Conf.ui, and I want to come in my output folders, because I have created some outputs here. And I think I want to animate exactly this picture. So I simply upload this picture right down here, and you see this is really realistic. And yeah, let's just say the woman is looking to the right. Now we press run, and obviously we need to wait for a tiny bit. And right now we do got our video, and you see it is really coherent. So let's just see. I want to organize this a bit better so that you can see that the quality is relatively good of this workflow. I want to bring this image here on the left side, make it a bit bigger so that you can see that it's really coherent. Now I press play, and you see indeed this woman is right now moving. So we used the image and we made a video out of this image, and you see the quality, yeah, it's really good. And you can generate whatever you want, so this is uncensored. This doesn't work just like with Sora. In Sora you saw that if we upload a picture, it is not able to generate a video from it, because there was a real person included. And with these workflows, with these open source workflows, obviously you can generate also real humans and so on, because they will not censor you. So this is the powerful stuff right here. So I do think you should give this a shot if this is practical for you. You can also generate videos out from pictures with these open source models. And this is obviously like a really small model, only a Q3 model. It is really compressed, but still I think at least the quality is really good. And obviously, if you are able to run bigger workflows, you can run all of these bigger workflows. My key concept is that you should come on Browse Templates, go on videos and search for the thing that you want to do. And if the models are too beefy for you, you search for a quantized model. The same thing is true for 2.2 animate character. You can press on it, then you can either download, of course, the models that they tell you. And if your machine is not strong enough to animate these videos, you can simply download a quantized model and use it. Now obviously this workflow seems to be a little bit intimidating, at least at first glance, but I promise you it's really not. You just have to take a look what happens. We use always the same models. Something for width and height. This should work automatically. Here we load all the models. So we load a few diffusion models, we have a few clip loaders, then we have the positive and the negative prompt. Everything here works completely automatically with the resize and so on. Down here you can always read for yourself what happens. We upload the reference image, so simply upload it here. Then we need to load the original video. So here you can do something like face swaps. You can upload a picture of you, for example, then a video if you want to deepfake you on this video. And then you can simply press generate and boom, you are able to run this workflow. The stuff from down here, it's not really necessary. But if you want to do it, you can add like these frame dots for the stuff that you want to render and the red dots that you don't want to render or that you don't want to animate. Let's just put it this way. I do think that you should take a look at these workflows. Obviously, this will not be for everyone because these video workflows at the moment, yeah, they take either beefy machines or a lot of patience. With the APIs you can work a lot faster. But if you want to run with these video models, you should absolutely give this a try. Simply search for the models that you can run. For most of the people, the smaller models, so a 5B model, will work. And if even these models are too big, use quantized models. Also here, you can do video outpainting, you can do face control, you have a lot of possibilities. And in the next video I want to show you one last workflow, and this last workflow we will not use it in ConfUI. It's called FramePack, and also FramePack can generate uncensored videos locally on your machine, for example if you don't like to use ConfUI. In this video we take a look at FramePack. FramePack is an awesome tool. We can create videos completely uncensored locally on our own machine with as little as 6 GB of VRAM. I have created this video for my German YouTube channel and then I have simply translated it with AI. I used the 11 Labs dubbing studio and I hope you like the quality. Let me know how it feels. I know it's not my original sound, but I find it quite impressive that I can upload a video and get this thing back in English in no time whatsoever. And because this is an AI course, I assume that this is great so you can see how the quality evolves over time. Maybe I can do this once again in a year or so and then we compare these two things. Local AI videos just received a huge update. Character consistency with videos up to 120 seconds. It runs on a potato computer with 6 GB of RAM. And yes, uncensored generations are also possible. This thing is called FramePack, and in this video, we will look at examples, the technology behind it, how to use it, and how to install it locally, so that you can create TikTok dance videos or whatever you want to generate. First, let's take a quick look at FramePack in detail. We can create videos with 30 frames per second, and that with a 13 billion parameter model. So it runs on a laptop with 6 GB of VRAM. It is video diffusion, but it feels like image diffusion. A standard model looks like this, where it always uses the last frame and the next frame generated. And that's exactly why you often see such videos that just warp more and more the longer they last, because the next frame is always generated from the last frame and the end result is no longer considered. This results in videos that are really insanely. FramePack does it differently. If you skip all the mathematics and explain it simply, FramePack does it like this. Everything starts with an image that we upload. And that could be anything. I'll just take this little figure now. After that, FramePack looks at the prompt, tries to figure out how the last frames look. That means the last frames are generated here, for example, 1 second of this video. And only then does Framework try to create the things in between here. And as a result, we get much more consistent characters and videos that make much more sense. Because it no longer uses just this frame to generate the next one again, and the next one again, but we make the first frame, then the last seconds of the video, and only then the things in between. And so the entire model naturally has more context. They call this anti-drift sampling, and you can read the detailed description yourself if you like. Here they show us many very interesting examples. This, let's call it horror Mickey Mouse, can dance very accurately. These are 5-second videos with 30 frames per second. This relevance also looks very good. Eating burgers works fairly well. I'm also quite impressed by this video. It looks very accurate and real. Such characters that don't actually exist are of course ideal. I can easily imagine that if you edit several of these videos together, you can create good short films. The same is true for the penguin. But real people also work. These robots. I also find these cows or that thing over there quite interesting. The motorcycle riding. This statue looks incredibly accurate. It moves really very good. Or simply a little boy carrying a fish. Of course, 5-second videos are not everything. We can also create 60-second videos with 30 frames per second. That's a total of 1,800 frames. And at least these examples also look pretty accurate, especially when you do something more creative. Otherwise, I have to say that the hands sometimes look a bit strange, but we will get there too. So I think these examples here do a really good impression. So let's just take a look at the interface. The interface is very minimalist. Here in the upper left corner, we can upload images. I made the image earlier in Croc. Yes, I know, the fingers aren't good, but I wanted to make a quick example of a princess who smokes. Below we write in the prompt. With this model, we also have 2 examples here. And we also have a small prompting guide on GitHub somewhere. And only very short prompts are used, so I assume that one should use short prompts. Princess is smoking a cigarette, a lot of smoke, gentle clear movements, for example. Use decatch. If you leave it on, it works a little faster. If you turn it off, the fingers might get slightly better. So I would recommend leaving it on at first. If the fingers are bad, we turn. You can specify the seed, like with every diffusion model. Then, the total video length in seconds. You see 5 seconds here, but we can go up to 120 seconds. That is 2 complete minutes video. So that I don't generate forever, I'll just go down to 5. The steps, meaning how often the AI works over these examples. Between 20 and 30 should work well. The normal settings are 25, similar to most stable diffusion or flax models. CFG scale, so how precisely should the prompts be followed? I would always stay at 10 here. I have experimented with higher values and then it becomes total chaos. And we'll also leave the settings for the GPU on their default. All that's left to do now is, of course, click Start Generation. After you've clicked Generate, you can always see up there which frames are created. After your first sampling is done, with 25 patches, you get this 1 second video. And here it is important to know or understand that these are the last frames of your video. That means this video lasts 5 seconds, so this is the last second of this video. And now you can decide for yourself whether you want to finish generating the video or not. You can click End Generation here, then you will not lose the video. Then you can download this video with 1 second. And what happens now is, of course, that the videos or the frames in between are generated. That means this is our start frame, this is the last second of the videos, and now the remaining 4 seconds in between are generated. And through this, we achieve character consistency. And it is, of course, really practical that you don't have to generate the entire video if, for example, you no longer like the last frames. To be honest, this is also what's revolutionary. That means we start with the start frame, then the last second of the video is generated first, and then all the seconds in between. And of course, you can go up to 120 seconds. That's 2-minute videos. But then, it obviously takes a long time to generate, especially with a potato computer like the one I own. The finished 5-second video looks like this in the end. I think overall it turned out relatively well. There are also really gentle movements as we wrote in the prompt. It looks like she's lighting the cigarette, although of course some things aren't perfect and some things are a bit odd. Also, our original image wasn't perfect with these fingers, but the complete style and everything was maintained very accurately. Overall, I am quite impressed by this. A small note. I had to run the thing again earlier with a new prompt, so I had to fiddle with it a bit because recording this video obviously consumes a lot of computing power, and together with generating, the thing actually crashed earlier. The installation is incredibly easy. We Google Pinocchio computer, click on the first link, we land right here and we can click download. Here we get the installation shown for Windows, Mac and Linux. I have a Windows machine. So the first step is naturally to click download for Windows. The thing downloads. Step 2 is to extract it so that we get the exe, and step 3 is to install it. So, go to the downloads. We have Pinocchio here. It is of course included here. The thing is now on my desktop, so right-click, extract all, and let's go. Now the thing is unpacked, it opens automatically and we click on the exe. Pretty soon it opens and we can click save, but of course we want everything in dark mode, so save. And now we can already search for Pinocchio script. We come to the cover. Here we have verified scripts and the community scripts. I would advise you to always use the verified scripts to use. And of course, we need FrameMech, so we click on it. But be careful, unfortunately it currently only works for NVIDIA. I also found a Hugging Face space, so everyone without an NVIDIA graphics card can try Len. Once we are at FrameMech, download, install. And now the thing does everything necessary. This takes a little while because we have to download a total of 50 gigabytes. The models are quite large. You need to click OK 2 or 3 more times and then you should end up in an interface. If you want to install the whole thing locally without Pinocchio, this is how it works. We arrive at this GitHub repository called FramePack. And perhaps some might recognize the face of the cat. This guy has done many things. If we open his profile, we see an incredible number of projects. FramePack is the latest. He is also involved with the Forge Web UI and with Focus. And these are two tools I've presented and used several times. So this guy keeps doing really cool things all the time. Back to the GitHub repo, we also have an Apache 2.0 license. This means we can even sell these things if we want. We can work with simple NVIDIA GPUs and even with the 30s series. So, a 30 is about the lowest standard we need. I have a 4060 with 8 GB of RAM, so everything runs well. That means yes, this is not a typo, even a simple laptop works with all of this. And now, the installation. The whole thing for Windows. It is actually incredibly simple. We click here, the thing is downloaded. This takes a little while. We have the thing downloaded relatively quickly. It is a zip file. The zip file is now on my desktop. Here as well, right-click, extract all, on my desktop. This will take a little moment, of course. Once it's unpacked, we are in this folder. We double-click. Here we have update bed and run bed. These are the two things you need to focus on. In the system and web UI, things will be saved later. So first, run bed. Windows will tell you it's not protected, but this thing is safe. So more information and run anyway. Here we will now make the latest updates. I have already done it. So I can press any key here and it closes again. So whenever you want to update the thing, you click update bet and then we click run bet. And also with run bet, you have to click on more information and run anyway. Do. And now all the models are downloading. This will take a little while, of course. As I said, there are a total of 40 to 50 gigabyte. But you only have to do the whole thing once. These models are then forever on your computer. Then starting it up is much faster. After all the stuff has been downloaded here as well, we'll end up in this interface, which we can now access exactly at this address in an empty browser. So whenever you close it, you can go back into an empty browser, write to the address, or just go back to the folder from the FramePack and simply run bet. And then, of course, you don't have to download everything again. If there are any issues with this, take the good old sledgehammer and smash your computer. Or you could try a restart. In this video we took a closer look at AI video generation, and we did most of it in ComfyUI. You obviously understand that you can use all these different API providers, just like OpenAI with Sora, or Google with Veo. You can also use the different Kling models, and they are extremely easy to use. You can simply load the workflow that ComfyUI gives you. You don't have to download any models. The workflow is completely done. You can simply bypass the nodes if you don't need them. If you want to make, for example, videos out from text, you bypass the image nodes, and if you want to make videos from images, you simply leave the image nodes included. These models are really great because you can generate really fast. You can even include audio or music and sound effects. You can also use the 1.2.5 models and a lot more. But the downside is, of course, that you need to pay, that it's not locally, and it's not uncensored. That's why I also showed you the coolest open source models. I do think, at least at the moment as I am recording this course, the best open source models come from Qwen, from Alibaba. We took a closer look at 1.2.2 and also 1.2.1. With 1.2.2 you can create videos from text, but also from images. And you can even do character swapping, so you can generate deepfakes. And I do think also this is a really cool use case. But of course your machine needs to have enough VRAM. If your machine is not strong enough, you just need to search for the GGUF models on Hugging Face. You can download them, put them in your Comfy, and you use obviously the unit GGUF loader and not the load checkpoint node. If you are patient with rendering, the quality is also really good and you are 100% uncensored. And you can find a lot of workflows also here on OpenArt, directly in Comfy, and on a lot of platforms online. And if you really hate ComfyUI, you can even take a closer look at FramePack. FramePack is really great because it's the easiest to use, but I would guess that you don't get updates all the time. In Comfy, you always have the newest models. So in general, I would recommend you to stick with ComfyUI. So all in all, I do think that you have learned a lot, and I want to tell you what learning is. Learning is, as you know, same circumstance but different behavior. Just try to make a video, only then you have learned. And I want to tell you once again what really good learners do. Obviously, they learn together, because more people always know more than few people. And we could reach this goal by you sharing this course. If you share this course and also the other person gets value out from this course, they will describe the value to you because you have told them. Thank you for that, and I'll see you, of course, in the next section. And the next section will get really cool, because we talk about AI agents, AI automations, and how we can connect all of this. You can even make automations that trigger ConfUI and a lot more. So see you in the next one.